Frank Herbert's Dune stands as a literary masterpiece, both of intricacy and depth, making it notoriously challenging to translate to the screen. Given its complexity, numerous changes have been made to the story in the past in an attempt to make it more palatable for general audiences. As it stands, these changes have been the target for the heaviest criticisms of previous adaptations, and continues to be the case with Denis Villeneuve's two-part adaptation of Dune. In this video, I'd like to explore a particularly thought-provoking criticism regarding Villeneuve's Dune that for many has become a genuine area of concern. Namely, the issue of the supposed erasure of Arabic influences in the newest adaptations, and how this critique appears to have a substantive basis as opposed to some of the other, more frivolous complaints we've seen previously. Ever since the marketing began for the first installment of Denis Villeneuve's Dune, both the film and its source material have encountered a range of criticisms. Some of these critiques are grounded in valid concerns, while others border on the absurd. One such spurious claim suggests that the movie perpetuates the white savior trope. However, as I've discussed on this channel, and as many other Dune enthusiasts have articulated, this accusation fundamentally misunderstands the essence of Dune, which serves as a cautionary tale against the notion of any heroic figures, regardless of their race or background. Another critique that emerged during the promotional phase of Dune Part 1 posited that Frank Herbert's original work was a product of, and thus was tainted by, the sexism pervasive in American culture during the 1950s and 60s. Many in the Dune fandom have been quick to point out that this argument conveniently ignores the pivotal role played by the Bene Gesserit, an all-female sisterhood wielding significant power, and the presence of compelling, influential, and dominant female characters throughout the Dune saga. These elements not only refute the claim that the source material perpetuates sexist undertones, but also highlights its complexity and nuance. With examples like these, it's a sad reality that many of the complaints against Frank Herbert's Dune and the adaptations seem to lack a genuine appreciation for the intricacies of the source material. Instead of engaging with its depth and nuance, critics often resort to simplistic and unfounded accusations. Villeneuve's Dune has also been criticized for its lack of Middle Eastern and North African actors, despite the setting Arrakis and its inhabitants, the Fremen, being deeply infused with Arabic and Islamic motifs, and the desert environment being reminiscent of Mina landscapes. Critics argue that the omission of Mina actors from significant roles, while foregrounding Mina cultural elements, constitutes a form of cultural appropriation and erasure. This has also raised concerns about Hollywood's efforts to promote diversity, as the casting process seems to have favored a westernized form of diversity, focusing on including people of color, but excluding actors from the regions whose cultures the film represents. However, it is also important to note that Dune is set 20,000 years into our future, making these cultural representations not direct reflections of existing cultures. Despite this, given the strong Arabic and Islamic influences and the allegorical connections to real-world elements, the demand for more representation for these specific cultures is not generally seen to be unreasonable. But perhaps one of the most substantive debates surrounding Denis Villeneuve's Dune is the change to the language of the Fremen, most notably with the phrase, "Long live the fighters." In Frank Herbert's original novel, this phrase is Yahya Chuhada, a direct nod to the Algerian War for Independence against France that occurred 3 years before the release of Herbert's first novel. The film adaptation, however, replaces this with a term from Neo-Chakobsa, a language created by linguist David J. Peterson specifically for the movie. This change has led to accusations of erasure, specifically erasure of the Arabic and Islamic influences that were significant in Herbert's original work, as well as the anti-colonial sentiments that underpin them. David J. Peterson participated in an AMA where he defended the linguistic changes in the film. His justification was, considering the setting of Dune, that the preservation of Arabic so far into the future was unrealistic. This has been met with staunch criticism, particularly since the movies still include modern English and Mandarin. Critics argue that Peterson missed the essence of how Herbert engaged with languages like Arabic, using them to speculate how they might evolve over many millennia. In Herbert's vision, these languages did survive into the distant future, albeit in a transformed state that reflected the novel's complex world-building. Additionally, Peterson has been criticized for his views on Herbert's understanding of the Chakobsa language, which is used in the books. In the same AMA, Peterson suggested that Herbert had little understanding of what Chakobsa was. This too has been refuted by critics who point out that Herbert carefully chose words that were from or that were inspired by Arabic, Hebrew, Persian, and Turkish, labeling them as Chakobsa in his universe. The criticisms also extend beyond linguistic choices to the overall adaptation's treatment of Middle Eastern and Muslim representation. Academic articles and essays such as Haris Durrani's work focusing on Appendix 2, The Religion of Dune, emphasize how deeply Herbert engaged with Islamic concepts. These critics argue for the inclusion of Muslim creatives to bring more depth and authenticity to the portrayal of characters and narratives in the Dune universe. The absence of such representation in Villeneuve's film is therefore seen by many as a reduction of the complex cultural, historical, and religious elements into broad abstractions, watering down the story's original complexity and depth. Furthermore, when combined with the complaints against a lack of MENA representation, this form of erasure of Herbert's Chakobsa language lends credence to the idea that this is not an isolated incident, but rather is a part of a larger trend within Villeneuve's Dune adaptation. Several articles have discussed how the movie waters down specific Islamic elements, treating key themes like religion, ecology, capitalism, and colonialism as mere abstractions. The simplification not only misses the opportunity for deeper exploration, but also fails to honor the source material's intricate relationship with Islamic culture. Critics argue that these changes collectively result in a movie that is less daring and more Orientalist than Herbert's original vision, diluting the power of Dune's historical imagination. But I'm curious to know what you think of these critiques of Villeneuve's adaptation of Dune. Do you think that it was a mistake to replace Frank Herbert's original language for the Fremen with David J. Peterson's Neo-Chakobsa? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more Dune and other sci-fi and fantasy news and lore. And if you're looking for other ways to show your appreciation, you can check out my Patreon page, where members get access to exclusive perks. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.